Life as a weapons inspector is difficult, from the countless deaths under strange circumstances, political pressure, bribes, and death threats. It's no surprise that of all the jobs in the galaxy, being an inspector is among the highest paying and most dangerous. Yet to Ragnar Thronton, it was the most enthralling occupation available. For 200 years, he has been a weapons inspector for the Galactic Compact. Not only does he enjoy the work, but also the connections it brings him. Throughout his career, he has diligently watched the many species of the galaxy and ensured compliance with the law. Today, the old inspector would be visiting a species whose name is infamous among weapons inspectors across the galaxy, the humans. These humans were not infamous for suspect deaths, bribery, corruption, or danger, but the incredible ability to create incomprehensibly potent superweapons not covered by galactic law. Every year, their scientists and engineers come up with mind-bogglingly insane blueprints and prototypes for weapons that could annihilate entire star clusters. Ragnar was ready for a very long day. As he got out of bed, he stretched his arms, walked to his bathroom, took a shower, cleaned his mandibles, and put on his most ceremonious clothes. His species, the Radikar, had very similar physiology to the humans. Due to this, it was more often than not his duty to inspect human shipyards and battle fleets. Today, however, he expected no conflict. He was to inspect the shipyards of the Terran government in orbit around Earth. This one shipyard produced more galactic laws than most governments ever would. With every inspection, a new superweapon would be found nestled in a loophole more complicated than the last. Ragnar took one last inventory of his belongings, then exited his hotel room, took an elevator to the lobby, exited the building, and entered a black car waiting for him outside. The car took him to the Cape Canaveral space elevator, where he boarded elevator 1A and began his 10-minute journey to space. From there, a shuttle took him directly to the massive station where his day's work lay. "Welcome back, Ragnar. Always nice to see you, though I'm afraid your visit will be unnecessary," said Fleet Admiral Green with a smirk. "This station no longer manufactures any weapons." "Oh, come on, Green. For the 120 years I've known you, you've never stopped making guns. Take me to the testing grounds." "We don't make weapons anymore, so there are no testing grounds. But we do have restaurants, and we do make a mean burger." "Maybe after you show me whatever it is you are making," replied Ragnar with a smile. "After all, if they aren't weapons, you don't mind me taking a look." "Certainly, follow me." The Admiral turned and began to walk down the large corridor to the testing room. "If I may ask, Admiral, what exactly are you making here?" Green hesitated for a moment, obviously trying to remember the exact terminology used by his engineers, before replying, "Singularity waste heat disposers. As of last week, all human ships now operate on Kugelblitz energy generators." "Singularity, as in black hole?" "Yes, but artificial. Completely harmless as long as you don't touch it." Green began to chuckle at his statement, seemingly amusing himself with his clear disregard for safety. "I don't find that funny. Touching a black hole would result in a horribly painful death." The Admiral didn't seem to care about Ragnar pointing out the inherent danger, only chuckling harder before finally regaining his composure. The two walked in silence for multiple minutes, before finally reaching a large blast door. The Admiral placed his hand on a scanner, to which the door began to whine and open. "After you," Green said. As Ragnar walked through the door, he was struck by the absolute size of the complex. It was well over 10 miles long and 4 miles wide. All throughout the complex, engineers worked on massive devices that looked similar to the magnetic accelerators common on human ships. "I thought you weren't making weapons anymore." "We aren't. Those are, singularity waste heat disposers, as I told you earlier." "Why do they look like your spinal mount weapons then?" "Because we need to get the heat out of the singularity containment field quickly." "How quickly?" "About 99% the speed of light. These babies heat up quickly, and we can't have that." "What? 99%? "Yes." "How is that not a weapon?" "Because it isn't designed as one." "How destructive is it?" "I'll show you. Hey, Jenkins, get a test ready and lower the radiation shielding." A man on a control platform gave the Admiral a thumbs up, and pressed a couple of buttons on his station. All personnel leave the work floor, live testing commencing soon. The thousands of workers along the floor began to run away from the area, each one entering a separate compartment shielded by a meter of lead. A massive blast door began to close in front of Ragnar and Green, and the two of them were handed protective goggles by a young scientist. After 30 seconds, the blast door fully closed, and the two of them moved to a small viewing port in the door. Jenkins, drop the, heat absorber, then start it up. Yes, sir. Warning lights began to flash as a standard military cruiser was lowered in front of the heat disposer. Once it was fully lowered, the Admiral got a giddy look of anticipation on his face before yelling, "Do it!" An absurdly bright beam of energy shot out of the magnetic accelerator. It smashed into the fully operational shield of the cruiser. Within a fraction of a second, the shield shattered, and the beam continued on its journey. It ripped through the armor plating of the cruiser. A horrific screeching noise was heard, and within half a second, the beam pierced straight through the other side of the cruiser. It smashed into a shield protecting the rest of the station, and it began to flicker. "Shut it down!" screamed the Admiral before the beam began to weaken and eventually dissipate. Ragnar was horrified. "Green, what the hell was that?" "A heat disposer. It just gutted a military cruiser from bow to stern, then went out the other side and just about destroyed the whole station. All in less than a second." "Did it?" "Yes." "I must have blinked," Green yawned. "Anyways, we've already outfitted all our ships with this revolutionary new energy device. I'll make sure to tell our boys in uniform to be careful of the exhaust port." "You what?"
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.